We would like to welcome you to the Better Cribs and Gardens channel. If you have been looking for information on hydroponic farming at home for beginners, we have our top 3 compilation videos that we have researched and want to present to you. Also, we have provided the information to their different YouTube channels. Make sure that you visit them. Please don't copyright strike us. This is to inform, educate and entertain our audience. But first off, there are links at the bottom in the description of this video that will take you to the official page that you see here. If you are looking for the Hydroponics Simplified official website, for getting started in hydroponics, expert tips, plans, and secrets, which is said to be an ebook and more information as well, that is also featured in the beginning and at the end of the video. And you can see that this featured information is said to be simply the best guide out there and more. Just take a look as we briefly scroll. Also take a look here, as it says that the featured ebook is said to take you on a journey, almost like going down a garden path, and is said to help match the right system to your situation and more. Just take a look as we briefly scroll through. If you would like to take a look at the featured Hydroponics Simplified, Getting Started in Hydroponics, Expert Tips, Plans and Secrets for yourself, all that you have to do is just click on the links provided in this description. Just briefly take a look here as we scroll. But now, let's get to our selection of videos that we have researched for hydroponic farming at home for beginners. We hope that you will enjoy it. Video number 1 is from the Yeah Likes YouTube channel. Video number 2 is from the Yeah Likes YouTube channel. Video number 3 is from the Yeah Likes YouTube channel.
Cool, right? Click the link in the description for pricing, ratings, and reviews.
Welcome back to Airborne Productions. Harbor Freight makes a pretty good little greenhouse. We've done a lot of work to make ours run a hydroponic setup. Let's check it out. So there are many benefits to having a hydroponic setup. It's really clean and organized, and it's also clean on the inside. When you run hydroponics, it really protects your plants and roots from getting all rotted out because the water is continuously running through it. A lot of times with a traditional setup, your roots will collect water and the water won't drain out like it should. That will cause your plants to rot and die. Using hydroponics completely remedies that problem. Harbor Freight carries a few different models, but this one in particular is 10 feet wide by 12 feet long. The greenhouse comes with a steel base for mounting, but it's not really that sturdy. So we decided to pour a little curb of concrete and bolt the aluminum straight to the concrete. That way this thing doesn't blow away at all. There's one more little stability issue that's common with these greenhouses. That's these panels. They often unclip. These panels can blow away with a good gust. So we put a simple little number 10 Tech screw in each panel, and that's fine. The construction of this thing's pretty basic. You get your frame all set up, and from there, you put your panels on. Pretty straightforward. 4 roof vents are included, but we added these attachments that open and close based on the temperature outside. Right now they are mostly open, but as it cools off at night, these will close up to slightly regulate the temperature inside the greenhouse. We used some simple rock from Home Depot for the flooring. For shelving, we took cinder blocks, stacked 3 of them up, and used some lumber to make a little platform. We did this around the perimeter, and we did one in the middle. For the hydroponics, we simply used some perlite in the middle, which goes all the way down the bucket. We have a line in each bucket that pumps water in. We have this line out, the rubber seal that flows water out, connected to each one. So when you do this, this is pretty high up, the highest point of this PVC pipe, so the water will flow all the way down. Then the lowest point of this PVC pipe is over here. That way all the water flows completely through and dumps back into this tank. We have a float in the rear for water regulation, as well as a pump right here, which goes up into each line for each bucket. The pump is electronically controlled, using the simple electronic timer. Every 15 minutes, the water will run for 60 seconds, and then it repeats. And we are feeding our plants these organic nutrients. We mocked up some misters, and we will utilize a timer. Each plant we have is organic. We have blueberries, Ozark Beauty strawberries, Sequoia strawberries, Super Sweet 100 tomatoes, Husky Cherry Red tomatoes, Juliet tomatoes, Roma tomatoes, red beefsteak tomatoes, eggplant, Japanese cucumber, burpless cucumber, cucumber variety, crookneck squash, zucchini squash, purple bell pepper, green bell pepper, orange bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, red bell pepper, and lastly sweet pepper. The Harbor Freight greenhouse, or any greenhouse for that matter, can be done very simply, but the hydroponic setup does have quite a few benefits. We could have simply propped up the greenhouse and buried plants in the ground, but our add-ons certainly enhance our ability to grow fruits and veggies. We will make an update video when harvest season comes around. Thanks for watching.
G'day, I'm Vic and welcome to Geeko Palm, where we do things differently. This is our slice of paradise. 250 mature olive trees and a big white house up here on the hill, and a high-tech fab lab down in the town. We run a small IT business, brew alcohol, press olives, teach young geeks, grow fruit and veg, hunt, farm chickens, and experiment. But today we're doing hydroponics down on Geeko Farm. Hydroponics. It's a hot topic around here, usually with connotations of frondy plants and smiling, lazy-eyed young farmers. But for us, it's a source of fresh food all the year round. We've been doing it for about 20 years, so we've got a fair amount of experience and spare parts. But we're going to cover it now because we've moved in, we're starting up a new system, and it's a good time to show people how it's done. Hydroponics work well outdoors, but wind is a killer that will bend, break, and even blow your plants right out. So we use a greenhouse. It's not so much to keep the plants warm, but to keep the weather off. High winds here will shove blown branches straight through a polytunnel, so we need the rigid frame and polycarbonate panels of our greenhouse. We've concreted well in, and it's a Titan 914 greenhouse with some extensions which we got from Hunking Garden Products. It's 7 metres by 2.7 metres huge, and it cost us about $3,500 New Zealand dollars. So our hydroponic system does away with soil and pumps just the right amount of water around the system. Not too much, or the plants drown, not too little, or the plants dry out. Periodically though, we do let all the water drain away. It stops the roots from rotting and it saves us a bit of electricity. Our tank has to hold enough water to drain the entire system. When you're designing the hydroponic system, start at the lowest point first, which is the drain tap on your holding tank. The pump connects at roughly the same level, maybe a little higher up to let the crap settle to the bottom of the tank. Once the pump's pumped the water around the system, it needs to drain freely into the tank, otherwise your runs will back up and flood. Make sure that the ends of the hoses aren't actually in the water. A ball cock valve lets the water in, topping up what the plants use. The pump is a 100-watt mains pump, capable of pumping 6 litres a minute up to a 2-metre head. As the pipes have frictional losses, you need more head than you think. Thicker piping has less loss, so as we expand our system, we'll swap to this thicker 20mm pipe throughout. The pumped water goes through to thinner feeders that point into our troughs. These go down a 1 in 40 slope to the drain. The troughs always have flat bottoms with the roots spreading out over a thin film of water which oxygen can get through. Round bottom troughs drown the root systems, so don't use them. The plants sit in little baskets of clay beads to support the roots. Sometimes we use vermiculite, which is basically mica popcorn. We print small pots and we buy the big ones because they're not worth printing. So that's our hydroponic system. Later, we'll cover how to add nutrients to it, and we'll take a look at what plants do and don't like hydroponic systems. But for now, that's your lot on Geeko Farm.
Hi, This is a quick rundown on how to set up our most basic kit. We call it the desktop model. As you can see, you get some very basic brackets. You get some random reading material, which you don't really have to keep. You get 2 hoses. It's part 1 of the 2-part nutrient solution, some packing foam to go around your seedlings, and of course part 2 of the nutrient solution. We suggest you use the shorter hose for an overflow. If you don't link multiple tubes together, you don't have to worry about that hose again. And use the longer hose as a drain hose. We recommend at least fortnightly you drain out and replenish the nutrient, or weekly for heavier feeders. Now you can insert the brackets into the appropriate holes. And your plant is ready to be used. Cut your foam packing into strips around 20 mil or 3/4 of an inch wide. Now you can add a couple of litres of water to your planter. In concentrated form, calcium and phosphate tends to form a nasty brown sludge which plants can't use. So it's always best to mix the 2 parts separately into water. For the first 2 weeks, all you'll need is 5 mil of each part. That's more than enough for seedlings, and about all lettuce will ever need. It's a very light feeder. For the next 14 days, all you have to do is top up the planter with fresh water. And then at the end of the 14 days, you can drain it out and put in more nutrient. The planter only needs to be filled up to the level of the overflow hose. If you've raised your own seedlings in a very porous mix, you only have to wash the seedlings in a bucket of water, wrap the foam around the seedling and stick it in the hole. If you've bought punnets, they may be root bound, in which case you might find a hard spray with a hose nozzle might be more effective in cleaning the roots. These were put down on September the 18th, and about 3 weeks later we could start harvesting leaves.
Cool, right? Click the link in the description for pricing ratings.
Hi, I'm Anthony. Welcome to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell for video updates. And click the links in the description. Thank you very much, friends.
Growing some of your own food is one of the best things that you can do for the environment. But I live in a city where I don't have access to dirt and a garden, and so it was a challenge to find a way of growing some of my own food in the conditions that I have here locally. And so it was really just a matter of experimentation once I thought about hydroponics and how they could possibly be made to fit the conditions of a window. So hydroponics is a different way of growing, and the plant's roots actually grow differently. So in soil, they have to grow very large root systems to go find new water and nutrients in the soil. Whereas in hydroponics, you're essentially dissolving all of the food that the plant needs into some liquid and then directing that liquid directly to the plant's roots. This is a typical kind of air pump that you get at an aquarium store for your fish tank. And it is feeding a bubble into the bottom of this tube that's submerged down in the water. And so each bubble, as it rises up to the top, is carrying a little column of this nutrient-rich water on top of it, and then squirting out at the top, and then dripping down through each one of the bottles and through each one of the plants. more than 13,000 people around the world have downloaded the instructions. They've built systems in Hong Kong, in Finland. There was a whole team there that really wanted to grow vegetables during the middle of the dark days of the winter. People in every hemisphere at this point have done it. In general, a lot of kind of leafy kinds of vegetables and greens, when they come to us in the stores, they've usually been trucked for 3 or 4 days, or it's been 3 or 4 days since they were actually harvested. And throughout the course of that process, they're essentially dying. And so the leafy greens that we end up getting are usually have lost a lot of their nutritive value at that point. When I take a bite off of this kale right now, I'm getting all of the nutrients that are there in its in this living leaf.
Cool, right? Click the link in the description for pricing, ratings, and reviews.
So now we're in the hydroponic room, and it's actually a converted garage because we really wanted to try and see if we could grow hydroponically, and obviously we can, and we're very excited about that. The difference in growing hydroponically versus a traditional grow, whether it's in a high tunnel or a raised bed or traditional row crop, is outside you have to weather the elements, if you will. So you have to worry about the rain and the sun and the cold. In here, and the pesticides out there. But in here, you really have a very mature growing environment, one that is only requiring nutrients and water to make these beautiful plants grow. So the way that we do it, just real quickly, is we begin with what we use a medium called Oasis. We found this, it actually began with floral shops, but it gives us a 99.9% germination rate. So that allows us to put a single seed per cell and saves us on seeds and really helps us grow quickly. So put a seed in here. In a couple of days, we can move it outside, and it stays in what we call a nursery until it gets roots onto the bottom of it. And then we break a cell off and we put it into these trays. These trays have water running through them 24/7, and that water has a nutrient in it that gives it everything that it needs to grow without soil. And the roots, here's an example. This is about a 3-week-old plant, maybe 4 weeks, and you can see the roots are just super thick, very beautiful. This is a romaine lettuce, and we're able to cut it, and it will grow back 3 times before we start again. So this is an NFT tray. That means that it's just a film of water consistently going over the roots and feeding it and giving it everything that it needs to grow in a completely natural environment. We love it. We love to be able to provide a chemical-free plant and vegetable to our customers.
Now, once again, we would like to thank you for watching our top 3 videos. For information on hydroponic farming at home for beginners, hit that like button and that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. Also remember that we have links below in the video description that will take you to the official page that you see here, for the Hydroponics Simplified official website, for getting started in hydroponics, expert tips, plans, and secrets, which is said to be an ebook and more information as well, that is also featured in the beginning and at the end of the video. And you can see that this featured information is said to be simply the best guide out there and more. Just take a look as we briefly scroll. Also take a look here, as it says that the featured ebook is said to take you on a journey, almost like going down a garden path, and is said to help match the right system to your situation and more. Just take a look as we briefly scroll through. Just click on the links provided in the description to see more on the featured Hydroponics Simplified official website for getting started in hydroponics, expert tips, plans and secrets for yourself.